What's happening, guys? Ali here with Rumpier Sports to recap all the big winners from this past week. We'll start off with a guy who has been on a crazy heater this past year. When he's not giving out home improvement advice on our free weekly shows, he's shipping six-figure GPP hits, including his latest $136K haul in NBA.
Congratulations, another $100,000 hit. I mean, what's going on here? But now what was it in? Football?
NBA Friday night just it's actually crazy because the NBA stuff's so much news nonstop, but I had something to do Friday night. I built the team. I said, you know what? If news hits and I can't make the right changes, I don't give a fuck. We're just rolling with it.
It was just another day in the office for the hoopster who was more focused on refinishing his cabinets.
Guy that does some work at our house was able to sand them down and spray them to this white color, and I prefer the white. Yeah, no, you don't like the home improvement. You don't like the carpet stories.
No, I apologize to our viewers. My fault.
People like this stuff.
Of our lives, we're never getting back.
Stories. People, probably like the cabinet stories. And you brought it up.
We don't give a shit about your cabinets. My bad.
And by the way, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you head on over and hit that subscribe button. Hoop's not the only one benefiting from our great Rumpier content. Shout out to RPS member Swint for not only shipping $20K in MMA last week, but also hooking up Hoop with his new Hunter Renfro jersey. Swint joined a long list of members crushing last week, including Roto Bowser, who banked $8,500 in NFL on FanDuel. C-Dub hit for over $10K on FanDuel. Woody I hit in NFL for $30K on DraftKings, and It's Uli hauled in over $72K in NBA winnings on FanDuel. These are just a few examples of the great success our members have been having lately, so join today and get access to all of our content and Discord, where our great members and hosts talk shop throughout the day about their favorite DFS plays. We've recently teamed with SaberSim to give you a great deal on a combo subscription that will give you access to all of our content, as well as their optimizer and projection system for a low price, saving you nearly $50 a month. So head on over to rumpiersports.com, sign up today, and let's run here.
All right, it is the NFL Spread Show, NFL Spread Pod, and there's no title. He's out traveling once again. We do have RubioDimes. We've got Philip Dang. I just learned his name. He's Glaucoma and Rubio today. So this is a super young guys pod once again. Philip Dang, how old are you?
28.
Oh, you're old.
Yeah,
Rubio, what are you, 23?
Yeah. Hey, you remember? Oh, my goodness.
The last year we were doing the show, you were 22. Holy moly, man. Just a little pup. You have a big trip coming up to London, don't you? When is that going down?
We are 2.5 weeks away, if it still happens. Like, I literally don't know if we're going to be allowed to travel. So knock on wood. I think we should be able to. I'm not stressed about it, but hopefully the governments don't deny us the tickets.
You're going to watch no NBA, no NFL. All you're going to be doing is going on picnic in Piccadilly Square.
That's strictly not true. That's not true.
It gets canceled.
I'm a guy who stays up late anyway, and those NBA games tipping at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that's going to be right in my wheelhouse, to be honest.
Oh, geez. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
It sounds awful, man. I stay up until 6 right now. I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I'm trying to match my girlfriend's schedule and stuff. I'm working a little bit less at Verizon, so it's nice.
Yeah, you're already adjusting your schedule, so there's no question you're going to ask for her hand in marriage. That's unfortunate. Glock, what's the Christmas plans here?
Well, actually, my wife tested positive for COVID yesterday.
Nice.
So we're going to be quarantining in the house unless we can return a negative test by Christmas Eve or Christmas. I doubt that'll happen, but yeah, we'll be in our house for this Christmas, it seems. And it seems like a lot of other people are kind of in that scenario as well, because COVID turned it up a notch, it seems, especially, in the sports world. Not even
fuck this
regular
thing.
World.
That's my official stance on COVID. Fuck you, COVID. I'm completely done with you. I've been done with you since 2020. And now we just look at this. Look at the guys that are on the COVID list here. Tyreek is on the COVID list. Kelsey's on the COVID list. Now, listen, if these guys are vaccinated, they got a shot at playing this weekend. But we got teams with no totals right now because we have no idea who is in and who is out. Rubio, it's just going to be another week where it's going to be challenging, and it's going to be a lot like NBA. Wait for the news. Once we find the news, we can pivot. But I just feel like we are talking about it right now, and there are going to be plays that we can dig up. But so much is going to change between now and Sunday.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing is, as ever fluid as it is in the current NFL state, I didn't know who I was going to be playing Saturday night even last week, and now today, like, it's going to be the same thing. Like I put Huntley in my lineup at 12:55 because we didn't even have Lamar news, and that wasn't COVID related. Like it's just stuff that like you don't really know what to expect. You can't really plan for it, but I knew my studs coming into that slate, Devontae Adams, and I knew I wanted James Robinson after Urban Meyer got fired. I mean, that was another layer. Urban Meyer getting fired and then allowing James Robinson chalk to unfold. But definitely, I mean, if you don't want to look at the slate until Friday, Saturday, even after the Saturday night games, I don't blame you. But, we're going to have fun. We got Justin Jefferson, 8,100 against the Rams and stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun this week. I'm confident. Hopefully these games go on as planned. Those two games, oh my goodness. All Monday and Tuesday games, even almost all the Sunday games except that Ravens game, absolutely awful. And I'm glad I didn't watch any of the games yesterday.
Yeah, I want to get into the Saturday games too. Glock, though, how'd you handle this past week with all the COVID news? How do you plan on handling it too? And then, like I said, I think besides for the main slate, we definitely have to get into the Saturday games too. It's a really good slate on Christmas with Cleveland at Green Bay and the Colts at the Cardinals, and there's going to be tons of COVID news there too. But how did it work for you last week? What were some of the strategies, if anything, you employed? Talk to me about this COVID mess as we head into Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm kind of well-versed in all this COVID late news stuff, just dealing with NBA and having to update the content. Like, it's kind of like, when people are in Discord chat and they're like, oh, I have my lineup already. And it's like 11 a.m. in the morning. It's like, dude, like it's going to change. Like there's really no point of looking at NBA to like an hour or even 2 hours before lock, like at the most, in my opinion. So like, I kind of like during the day, I just kind of get a general idea of how I'm going to build my team. What are the key pieces? And then, obviously these health and safety protocols can crop up out of nowhere. So even like if you're really set on one guy, like a running back, a wide receiver, quarterback, boom, they can get placed in health and safety protocols out of nowhere. And that just changes everything. So yeah, I've been kind of just taking like a high level approach. Like, okay, these are the guys I want to target. And then just wait on the news because yeah, like with the NBA, everything can change in one split second. The slate can just get flipped on its head. And there's really, I would say there's really no point in just wasting all that effort, just researching really early because, just the state that we're in right now, it can just change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, there's literally no reason to listen to this unless you like Rubio, myself, and Glock. That would be what it is. Hey, but and I kid because I care. But like Christmas, for me, I usually work on Christmas. Okay, so it's not a big deal for me building lineups. But you guys have like families you're probably hanging out with. So my question to you is, how do you get away from the family on Christmas Day to go build your lineups, Rubio?
I build them in the living room with him. I mean, Glock,
really?
He's got the COVID. He's in the health and safety protocols, so he's chilling. He doesn't have to worry. But I just my dad likes fantasy sports and stuff, and I don't really talk about my lineups and stuff. But like NBA, that's the biggest day for NBA, to be honest. And I'll just be sitting there by the fireplace with my computer in hand with SaberSim pulled up, of course. And actually, I haven't pulled up SaberSim on Christmas Day yet. This will be the first year for it. But, this year I'll be plugging in Zach Ertz against the Colts because the Colts can't defend a tight end worth a damn. So, I'm looking forward to this Christmas, but I just do it around them. I open the presents or I give out the presents and I just sit back for 3 hours waiting for the NBA games. That's it.
Wonderful to see. It's wonderful to hear that from you. What's going on here, Glock, with you? You will be in the COVID protocols. You'll probably have it yourself by the time.
Yeah, I'm assuming I do. Yeah, but
you'll assume.
Yeah, generally, I open presents on Christmas Eve. So like my Christmas Day is like just a bum out day, like just watching the NBA games already and not really doing much. So since I am kind of technically in the health and safety protocols, that's my plan. Just be chilling, watching all the games and doing my lineups. My wife knows what I do, so she's understandable.
I think that's great, man. I think that's absolutely terrific. Christmas Eve opening presents is the way to go, right?
Doesn't seem I think it's like an
approved of that.
Asian/Hispanic thing, though. I think.
Is that what it is? It's an Asian Hispanic thing.
Yeah, because my family always opened on Christmas Eve, and then my wife's family always did it as well, like closer to midnight. But the kids they can't stay up.
Where do you live, Glock?
I live in Dallas, like 20 minutes east of Dallas, Texas.
Man, I've never heard of that. No, I heard of opening the family presents on Christmas Eve, like your brothers, your family, your direct family. But Man, I don't think that
What do
can't
the
be
kids do
unrealistic.
for Santa?
Yeah, so they wake up in the mornings at their normal household. So like for Christmas Eve, we all gather at like just like the grandma's house or something like that. And then their presents from Santa, they wake up in Christmas morning and they're there under their tree. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
You get double. I like to see
exactly.
that. So last thing, and if you have a child in the car or wherever you are and you're listening to this and they believe in Santa, please turn this off immediately. Rubio, do you remember how old you were when you learned about the Santa lie and what kind of I really am frustrated around the holidays because this gives parents a reason just to lie to their children and set awful lessons for them as they grow up. How old were you when you learned about Santa and that your family was lying to you?
I really like this topic. So I think I was 6 or 7 years old, and we had these stocking stuffers. You get the stockings, and I remember Santa got me these, or Saint Nick put it in my stocking that I had Bengals pencils, right? And I'm like, wow, these are so cool, Cincinnati Bengals pencils. And I look at the back, and my mom like half-assed like tearing off the barcode. So like there was still some of the barcode showing, and I look, I'm like, why is there why is it $6.99 at like Costco or some shit? Like I was like shocked. I was like, what, did Santa buy this or something? And then I realized like my mom pulled me to the side. She's like, don't ruin it for your little brother. So I was about 6 or 7 years old, and it was because of Cincinnati Bengals pencils. They've caused disappointment for me my whole life, and that was no other way of doing it.
Oh, you hate to hear it. Glock, how old were you?
Man, Rubio, I'm glad you remember that in detail because I surely do not.
You don't?
Yeah, I do not remember at all at what stage of my life I figured out Santa was fake. But you know how Asian parents are. They're kind of like, they don't tell you things straight up. They just like assume, like they just kind of look at you and then you kind of assume you know what they mean and you carry on with your life. So yeah, I do not remember what age for sure.
They just told you Santa wasn't real, just like straight up?
They never told me straight up, but I just, at some point in my life, I'm sure they gave me a look. I was like, where's Santa? And then, they just looked at me and I was like, oh, okay. He must not really exist.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. It's like you're just setting your children up for just crushing horribleness. And, I got to deal with the tooth fairy right now. I feel bad about lying to the kid about the tooth fairy. But, I mean, you do pay him off. You give him like $5 a tooth. Can you also help me out with that, guys? Because my kids were on vacation. Daughter lost her first 2 teeth. She got $1 and $1.50 for her teeth, which I think is complete bullshit because I got $2 40 years ago.
Inflation, baby.
Yeah, you just had your teeth fall out like 5 years ago, Rubio. What did you get for them?
Yeah, I think I got like $2-3 probably at most.
Okay.
But like after I like lost my third tooth, I'm pretty sure my mom just handed me money and said, fuck off. No, I'm kidding. But basically she just didn't come into my room. She just kind of gave me a couple bucks and then that was that. Don't put it under your pillow, throw it away. That's gross.
Yeah, I don't get to give my girl money until she loses her third tooth. Now I have to wait. But I'm looking forward. I was actually thinking about buying an actual gold doubloon, but I don't know if at 7 or 6 years old she's going to understand the worth of that. Glock, Tooth Fairy, did you guys do it?
Yeah, we did. I think I would say the most I ever got was like $5 under the pillow, probably. So I think you're on the right track, Holden.
$5. Sure. You got the big ones. Glock, what if Santa and the Tooth Fairy fucked? Let's move on to football. I just want to see what your reaction would be. I knew Rubio would get blushed and grab his head, and that's what's happening. We got a big slate of games here. Let's face it, it's going to be a disaster, but a beautiful disaster. I'm actually looking forward to it. We don't have much football left. So we got to get on it, and we got to go game by game. And I just don't think we could talk much about New York and Philly, though. There's so much up in the air there. If either one of you would like to chime in and say anything is from this game that is okay, maybe Jalen Hurts.
I mean, we always go position by position here, but do you want to
go position by position?
Always position.
I'd rather do position by position.
I agree. Yeah, that's what we did on my last pod. So let's.
Sometimes I just forget, Rubio. There's so much.
Hey, that's why I'm here. I'm here to save the day. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saving the day. And
I just want to say my piece on the Christmas games real quick. I'm going to spend 30 seconds on it. All right.
Yeah.
You play Zach Ertz because the Colts can't defend a tight end worth a damn. Okay. You play Christian Kirk. You play Kyler Murray. You run it back with Jonathan Taylor. And then you kind of, can you get Devontae Adams? I think you can. And then
you playing cash?
No. I think I'm probably going to go all in on a sneaky play here. I think I'm going to be all over Michael Pittman at 5K too. But then
I know that'll be different.
Who's going to be the guy who gets me over the top? Let's check it out right now. You know who that is? You don't? Okay.
No.
So it's going to be Aaron Jones if he's in at 6.8 because he looked like he actually took over the role. I think people are going to be scared, and I think no one's going to want to pay 6.8. 2 game slate.
He took over the role. I feel like Dylan's getting the goal line carries now.
I mean, Aaron Jones got a touchdown last week. I mean, I'm not concerned about the goal line carry exactly, but the touches were 15-8 last game, so it's trending in Jones's direction.
So goal line carries don't matter.
They do. No, they do. But Jones got him the other game too. So I mean, I'm not concerned about this roulette here of goal line carries because I think it can go either way. So, and Aaron Jones loves to catch balls from Aaron Rodgers too.
He does. Glock, real quick thoughts on Saturday then? I guess we should have gotten to that first, and I'm glad. See, Rubio, you should just be hosting these shows at this point. Yes, Glock, Saturday.
No, yeah. I think Rubio nailed it on the head. He just named all the expensive studs on the slate. So we're going to definitely need to find some cheap value for sure to jam them in. But yeah, I love the direction he's headed. It is a 2-game milli maker, so that's interesting. I just pulled it up. I do like targeting that Colts-Cardinals game. I think I'm just going to stack that up. Last week I played Kyler Murray, and obviously that didn't go too well. He got I don't know what happened against the Lions, but yeah, I don't mind going right back to him. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the league, in my opinion. So you have him as a run back option. And yeah, like Rubio said, if you stack that game up, you have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, the only two kind of worth anything on the Colts, and you just build around there.
That's it. Just stay with the Jonathan Taylor. Do you like Ertz this week or no?
I do. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Although it does seem like Kyler doesn't really look his way from what I can see, but if the Colts suck at defending tight ends, yeah, I love them as a play.
Rubio, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the showdown slate when the Patriots played the Colts, and I was all over Hunter Henry, and ended up being a free roll actually after DraftKings didn't lock the slate on time, or actually locked the slate 5 minutes earlier than they said they would. So I was happy about that, but I actually ended up not needing it much because Hunter Henry smashed. And every tight end, if you look in the past 8 weeks, even if they're just terrible, like Jeff Swaim and stuff, they just pop off for 6 for 60 and a touchdown. It's crazy how bad the Colts are at defending the tight end spot.
All right, so that would be the Saturday side of things. Let's go to the Sunday side of things. And yes, Rubio, it is position by position. Don't know what's going on with Patrick Mahomes' weapons. We got Kelsey and Hill in the protocol. Josh Allen gets New England without 80-mile-an-hour winds. Brady without Godwin, probably getting Antonio back. Mike Evans might not play in this game. We got some COVID issues with the Texans now, so Justin Herbert might get a bump on top of an already great matchup. And on top of that, there's going to be no Brandon Cooks, so maybe it's a running game for them. Who knows? Stafford looking good again to Kupp, Hurts. I just did the pick and winner show, Coop and spread on there. There's some talk about Kirk Cousins being a nice play this week. A lot of options, Rubio. Give me 2 or 3 guys you like. And is there anyone down low? Would you trust Justin Fields at 5.2 this week on a bum ankle?
I like Justin Fields. And the fact that he put up 18 last game and he looked absolutely awful. I mean, it's promising. However,
with a luck box TD at the
it
end.
was a luck
Come
box. You can expect how many times did they stall out in the red zone true. There, and it was endless. It felt like the whole game was just an entire red zone stall, and it reminded me of the Chiefs and Chargers a week ago, where every time they ended up getting close, they ended up not scoring. And that game could have been way more high scoring than it actually was. And it sucked because I stacked that game. I felt like I was minted after the Browns and Raiders was a total of 30, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm gonna ship tonight. This is gonna be great. And then my plays combined for less than 30. So it was a lot of fun. And I really think that this week, my favorite play is here, Stafford. I just think the Vikings can't defend in the secondary at all. You have the Cooper Kupp combination and everything around it. It's just so easy. And he's under 7K. It's not something I would have expected. I thought he'd be higher than 6-7. He's going to be my favorite guy, but obviously he's going to be chalk at that price. It's somewhere where can I get different? The Chiefs defense, they didn't look great against the Chargers. They easily could have allowed 45 to 50 if the cards fell right. And I know woulda, coulda, shoulda. but the Chargers were in position to score endless amount of times. And I'm going to say it, Dusty Big Ben, you can stack him with Deontay. You can stack him with Chase Claypool. You can even stack him with Freiermuth if he's healthy enough. But 5.5 is really cheap. I know I like the running upside of a quarterback like Justin Fields more, and I have said it in the past that I prefer a runner over a thrower at that tag. But this Chiefs defense could easily give up 28, 35, even to a bad team like the Steelers. I know the Chiefs defense has been better of late, but the Steelers are in do or die mode. They got to start winning these games, and the Chiefs are going to have a tough schedule down the stretch where I think they have to play the Steelers and the Bengals, who are both fighting for the AFC North title. It's going to be a bruising few weeks for all these teams in the AFC, and I expect these teams are going to go down swinging, and that's going to be important. I'm not going to choose a guy like Jared Goff or Matt Ryan this week, despite that game, could potentially pop off, as neither team is going to be playing for anything. But I mean, Stafford and Big Ben, maybe Fields. I think those are my 2 or 3 guys. But we all say it, with the COVID news and everything around it, could change come Sunday.
Glock, can I interest you in Justin Fields, who right now is nursing an ankle issue?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind him. He's definitely not my preferred target this week. I think I'm gonna focus more up on the studs of this week. Like, Rubio said, Matt Stafford. I love that Raiders or Rams versus Minnesota Vikings game a lot. I think it's my favorite game to target of the week. So I think you can't go wrong with both sides. Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins. I think that game is just going to play out kind of like similarly the Minnesota versus Green Bay game, where, Green Bay was touted up like, oh, their defense looking really good. And then, they gave up 34 points or something like that to the Vikings. And I think the same scenario could happen here. So I love targeting that game. I think, obviously based on the news, I'm going to stay away from the Pitt KC game in regards to Mahomes, because if he doesn't have his 2 best receivers in Kelsey and Tyreek, I probably don't want to stack him with his subpar receivers. I'd probably just pick them more as one-offs. But I don't mind Big Ben as well, like Rubio said. I think depending on the health of the KC receivers and the offense, Big Ben, I think he's going to try to sling it a lot more. It looks like he's trying to do that more often since it's like his going away party per se. And then I guess my other option, obviously it's going to be Justin Herbert. Houston's defense is awful. He does project to be the highest owned quarterback at this juncture in the week. So, in that regard, I do lean Stafford or Kirk Cousins just because I like that game environment more. But yeah, I think those 3 would be my main targets of interest: Matthew Stafford, Ben Roethlisberger, and Kirk Cousins.
You're the second guy to bring up Roethlisberger here. It's just so uncomfortable, isn't it? It's like there's uncomfortable rosters, and that might be the most uncomfortable one there is, right?
Yeah, I mean, at 5.5 at 2% ownership, I'll take a risk. And you obviously know his target tree is, Deontay. So you can really just single stack it, skinny stack it, and bring it back with based on whoever's available for KC. Like, I love Noah Gray if Travis Kelce is out, like as a value option. He might be end up being chalky this week at tight end if Kelce's out. But he'll allow you to jam in like all the studs, I think, that you want. Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson, get that little stack and kind of stack it the other way. So like you get like Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, run it back with Justin Jefferson. You get Noah Gray at your tight end, and then run it back with like Deontay. You could easily make it work because there's some value at running back, which we'll get to as well.
Well, that's good. We got running back, RubioDimes. I'll give you a little pre-running back rundown, and then you go with it. Dalvin Cook is the most frustrating running back to roster, I feel like. It's tough to get him right. Eckler going at Houston. That could be interesting. No Fournette this week. Would you trust Rojo in the role? Huh? That'll be an interesting one. You said Urban was gone, and that's James Robinson. Well, James Robinson's got the Jets this week, my friend. So that's not a bad play either. Can we go to Michael Carter against Jacksonville? He got broke in last week, had a couple of points, and maybe he gets some more work this week. So give me the rundown at running back. What's the lowest price running back right now as you look at it? The
highest priced. The highest priced I will go is 6-1. I will not go above 6-1. I will not this week because I think we have Jefferson this week. We have Kupp this week. We have Deontay this week. Guys, I mentioned already a little bit. But I'm spending up at wide receiver. I'm likely going to be spending it out at tight end. Last week, it's a completely different week. We didn't have any good running back stuff. This week, I feel like we have plentiful amount of guys who can make a difference. James Robinson is still under 6K. This Jets defense is absolutely horrid. He has pride. He wants to play good without Urban Meyer there. I think he almost had 20 touches last game and stuff. The touches are there. I'm not worried. 5'9" too is just way too low. Melvin Gordon did not practice today. So that is actually a pretty big deal. Or won't practice today. So Javonte Williams, if he's the alpha there at 6'1", likely gets a ton of ownership, but he'll be one of my favorite plays. I've mentioned it on the pod in the past. The Seahawks cannot defend the running backs in the pass game. David Montgomery is a guy who has popped off with about 19 catches in the last 3 games. So is it 19? Yeah, it's 19 exactly. So he's a guy there that I'm looking at. Fields likes to check down to him, and whoever's the quarterback there will probably check down to him a little bit. 5'7", very cheap. Kind of continuing to run through here. I kind of mentioned James Robinson already. I'm going to trust Ronald Jones. I just am. 5'1", no Fournette. The running game has actually been really good for the Bucs of late, and I feel like he won't be completely neglected in the pass game. He did have 2 catches last game, which was a little bit promising, and I know that game was involved with them chasing a little bit, and that kind of inflates that, as much as it inflates 2 catches, it does inflate the script a little bit, but I definitely think he's going to be effective at 5'1". We have Damian Harris and the Ramador Stevenson. Whoever, if Damian Harris is out, I'll probably have a little bit of interest in Stevenson. But yeah, I mean, it's a short list of the 4 to 5 guys, but I'm definitely not going to spend up at running back this week.
Man, I'm just looking through the report right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. Brandon Cooks is on COVID now, but the good news is Joe Mixon was a full participant in practice. So if you're looking at the Cincinnati-Baltimore game, at least Mixon, would you be interested in Mixon if you roll him out there, Glock, or are you on Rubio's side here just paying down at running back in week 16?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of shares in Mixon, especially best ball. I drafted him on my main fantasy teams, and up to this point, he's been pretty disappointing. He's just very fragile. Just seems like he always gets hurt. But obviously, when he gets the workload, he's like a total stud. So I do like him. I think I'm in lockstep with Rubio, though, where, you really don't have to spend down this week. I mean, DK didn't want to price up James Robinson. I mean, he's 5'9" still and, gets one of the worst defenses in the league, New York Jets. So I love him as a play. I love Ronald Jones. I'm going to trust him. Didn't Tampa Bay pick up somebody off a running back? Off
Lev
the waivers,
Bell.
Lev Bell. Oh, gosh. That's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I mean, I think I'll trust Ronald Jones as well. And then I think one name Rubio didn't mention who's also kind of in the cheaper range is Miles Sanders. It is a little concerning. They're off a short week and, they're going to have an early game right off the bat. But if he's in play, it looks like he's kind of taken more like the alpha role, at least in the first half of last night. It seemed like he was, and he was getting all the work, looked fantastic. Got vultured twice by Jalen Hurts, which really hurt my fantasy teams. But yeah, I mean, I think he looked great. So he's an option there. I think those would be my top 3: James Robinson, Rojo, and Miles Sanders. But, I do want to say, you're going to find leverage in paying up for running back this week. And the pay ups are actually in great game environments. So, you have Austin Eckler, who plays for the Chargers. And a lot of people are going to be picking on Justin Herbert to stack with, Keenan Allen and the receivers. So if you just pay up for Austin Eckler, you get leverage on the passing game. And then Dalvin Cook, same there. Rams versus Minnesota, just pay up. Great game environment. A lot of people are going to be targeting the passing game, including myself. So nothing's more tilting than your wide receiver falling down at the 1 and Dalvin Cook running it in for a 1-yard touchdown and just vulturing all your passing work. So yeah, I will say that about the pay-ups. They're complete leverage on the passing game this week for sure.
Where are we on the Rams running game right now? Is it just too much up in the air with Michelle and Henderson?
Yeah, too much in the air. Sony actually looked like the number 1 guy yesterday, and I think that's because he rode the hot hand. So if you're willing to risk who gets the hot hand, I mean, I wouldn't even do it then because I'm so enamored with the passing game a little bit. But I can see if you're stacking the Vikings and you want leverage off Stafford and Kupp and stuff, then you can definitely try and get Sony Michel or Henderson if you really want to risk it. But that's kind of super tournament scripting because, like you said, we can't trust either one. And you can't really trust McVay to give the carries over the other. So, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think the guys were talking about it yesterday. You either take a major stand on one or you make 2 lineups and then you just swap 1 for 1. So, in your 150, you either take a huge stand on Sonny Michel or Darrell Henderson, or you make a few lineups and then you just trade them in each, and then you just kind of hedge yourself out that way.
I kind of look at the running back situation in New England, and I feel like, gosh, do I want to play any of these guys against Buffalo? And here we are again. Like, if Damian Harris isn't playing, Ramondre's in there. Ramondre's an option, yes or no? Yeah, Clark?
If Damian Harris is out, right?
If Damian Harris is out, I should say, yeah.
If Damian Harris is out, I'll definitely have interest in Stevenson, just because I think this running game, we just saw them exploit the Bills in a weathery game. I'm not going to get carried away with it because Bolden's the clear pass catcher there, and the floor on Stevenson won't be good. But I mean, I just had a great day when I had Mixon get 7. Like, you can have a dud at the running back spot, especially if it's 5K. You don't want a dud, but if Stevenson only gets me 6 to 7, I'm not going to be dead.
Is that what you're thinking, though? There's a floor then, and we're not going to mess with Stevenson?
And there's a floor, but I don't want to completely rule out like messing with a low floor running back, because those guys can ship tournaments. Let's say Stevenson gets in the box twice, which is entirely possible in this offense, and he could just crush. So I don't want to completely rule him out. The upside's there. The touches are going to be there. So the floor just won't be, and that's part of the risk. He's probably better on FanDuel. I don't know his FanDuel tag, though, but he's probably better on that site.
And Glock, the only other guy, and you guys have brought him up, I want to really get deep into Rojo here, because he has been given shots before, and he just hasn't taken advantage of it more often than not. But we're also talking about major injuries here. The Godwin injury, I don't know if that's going to make them run more, but especially with Brown coming out. But how can Rojo has a big ceiling, or is there a capped ceiling and just a floor?
Yeah, I mean, who's behind him? Let's see. Like, I feel
Le'Veon Bell
and Keyshawn Vaughn, right? So it's like, okay,
Vaughn.
in the past, Rojo, like kind of at the beginning before they got Leonard Fournette, he was the alpha. But, anytime he made a mistake, like fumbled or, did a stupid play, he would get pulled right away. And then here comes Uncle Lenny. And, that's a comparable 1-for-1 switch. But now, like, you have literally Ronald Jones and then Keyshawn Vaughn and Le'Veon Bell, who's not even actually in the player pool right now. So, I think they'll just be more willing to lean on Rojo. I mean, that's what I'm kind of leaning into and hope will happen. But who knows? Like, it could just be like, they go right back to Keyshawn Vaughn. Who knows? I'm just going to lean on the Rojo aspect and hope that they just lean on him, because he's proven in the past that he's proven in the past that he can handle the alpha role. So that's kind of what my mindset is on it.
Miles Sanders with a quad issue, so keep an eye on that as the week. Just so much going on. So again, we're giving you a little foundation, a little outline, but there's going to be so much more as we get closer to game time. So the wide receiver position, gentlemen, you mentioned it before, but we got to get into this. Jefferson and Kupp. Last week I was saying Devontae and Kupp, and obviously something happened there and we didn't get both of them in there. What happened, by the way? The Rams game was rescheduled. Yeah. So we had that. Well, now what do you think about a Kupp Jefferson lineup? Rubio?
I don't mind it, especially if I'm not playing Big Ben or if I don't want Deontay Johnson. That's going to be the most it's going to be an expensive stack, but definitely something I'm interested in. You got to be willing to punt tight end and probably defense at that point. Maybe not completely punt defense, but when I was kind of fiddling around with the initial build, like, you're going to be investing 17-2 into 2 wide receivers, which you can't really find 2 better wide receivers to do it in. So if that game environment does go off, and you could even pair Kupp with like another guy like Odell Beckham and stuff, you could have a nasty game stack there with a good run back. So it's definitely something I'm entertaining, and I'm kind of debating Deontay Johnson versus Justin Jefferson right now at the moment. Like, Deontay Johnson's first game under 10 targets was last game, and since week 10. So yeah, Deontay's volume is going to be there. It's a great spot for him too. The Steelers are forced to throw the ball because the offensive line cannot push forward against anyone, and Najee Harris can find 0 room to run. So it's going to be a debate I have. You can't fit all 3. I just tried. I think I'll probably lean towards the Jefferson Kupp route right now because I love me a game stack.
All right, Mr. Glock, what do you think about the 2 big guys in the same lineup?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, like that's definitely going to be my focal point. Hopefully maybe Justin Jefferson's ownership is a little low coming off that stinker recently. Kirk Cousins in prime time. He won't be in it this time around. So you can expect there to be fireworks, I think, with Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. And yeah, obviously you can't come you can't compare what Cooper Kupp is doing. I mean, he's about to break records, right? Even with the extended season, he's going to break Calvin Johnson's record, I believe it is, potentially. So, yeah, I think there's some narrative around there. I think that game environment is truly the best on the slate, and I will be targeting those two for sure.
Okay, so Rubio, the rest of the wide receiver position, you brought up Deontay, but might want to save some money. I don't know why Hunter Renfrow is still only 6.8. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So there's another name. But if you're really going down low, I feel like you're going to have to dig this week if you want to jam the two big guys in. Where else? What are the other options we have?
Are you saying Hunter Renfrow is overpriced? Because I agree.
He's
6'8's a
overpriced.
joke. No, I'm kind of tongue in cheek there, but he's not. He has 2 games above 10 targets. Like this entire season. I know Waller's out and that changes things a little bit, but he had 3 good weeks. Like it's
3 great weeks. That's 3 good weeks. You're right.
Three half decent weeks. 1 great week. And that's the thing is I'm glad he shipped.
I'm not letting you get away with this. You get 21.6 off of 5.8K. That's a pretty damn good week.
Great. In last game, his incredible floor netted him.
It was
6.
a rough one.
And it's just not – unless they're going to be trailing. This is a negative game script. The Denver Broncos were incredibly stiff against Jamar Chase and Higgins. I know Boyd went off because of 1 big catch, but this defense is not something that I really want to pick on. You have Deontay Johnson, who's just so much more proven, so much better, and so much more of a target funnel at 700 more. I'll gladly take the spend up there, but I'm honestly looking through this mid-tier range, and there's not a whole lot to get excited for. Like DK Metcalf did get 12 targets, last game, so there's a little bit of promise there if Lockett misses again. But if Lockett gets back in, I probably won't have interest. And you scroll through this mid-tier, there's not a whole lot to get excited about. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, he has 11 targets the last 3 games, and he gets a pretty decent spot against Atlanta. He's been a target hog, and he ended up scoring in the first quarter last week. So there's definitely promise with him. Then you have your Rams guys in the mid-tier, but I'm probably going to be spending down at this 3rd wide receiver spot. Gabe Davis got a 1K price hike, and he was very effective, and it looks like he's finally – I hope Sanders continues the miss, but we do have Cole Beasley out anyway. So Davis's snaps will be high this week. And it will just be something that you can kind of monitor at 4.7. He's been great. When he actually got time, a year ago, he was really good. And this year, he's finally getting the time again, and he's back to scoring twice last week. But I'm trying to find the value guy. And if Mike Evans misses, we know Godwin's going to be out for the year. You have Tyler Johnson at 3.9, who probably slots in as the target hog over the middle. And if Antonio Brown is back, we get him at 4.9. I can't imagine Brady not using him because he'll probably be the most open of all those wide receivers. So that's probably where I'll go. But again, it's going to be a tight fit.
What happened with all that Antonio Brown stuff? Because I thought he was out of the league for faking his Vax card, and then now all of a sudden he can play. I must have not been following, or I missed a piece of news that now he could play, which is weird.
He probably will play.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they need him. He's going to be the number 1 guy there. You can get Rojo and Antonio Brown for 10K combined. That's a pretty enticing thing to do.
Surely Antonio Brown will be the chalkiest wide receiver option if he's ruled in. I think that's my guess. 4,900, number 1 option. Brady loves him.
Higher than Kupp?
Man, I mean, those two would be paired together for sure. I think the ownership of both of those guys would just elevate to another level because it's just such a cheap tag for Antonio Brown. 4,900, he hasn't been that cheap all year. Obviously, he hasn't been playing as of late, but yeah, he hasn't been under 5K all year.
It would be interesting. What's the team total on the Bucs right now? Do we even have a total?
27 and a quarter. 27 and a half.
You can stack that team for cheap too. If you really wanted to entertain it and you wanted to put Brady in there, but you can even go Johnson, Brown, and Jones and get almost everyone except Gronk basically, and only spend 14K on a team with a really high total like that. Man, that might be the smart thing to do. I think if Evans misses, Brown and Johnson are both really, really sharp play, or really not. They're not going to be sharp because everyone's going to be on it, but they're going to be really good plays.
What do you got here? Clock at the wide receiver position besides for Antonio Brown.
Oh, sorry. I'm on me. I love Gabe Davis as well. It seems like Josh Allen has really built a rapport with him. And now that Cole Beasley is going to be out, I love Gabe Davis. He's a great option. Obviously, what Rubio said, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been incredible since TJ Hawkinson went down. He's obviously Goff's go-to guy. Last 3 games, 12 targets, 11 targets. Like that's alpha level receiving, and he's only 5.6K on DraftKings. So I really don't mind him as well. Atlanta's defense is not anything to be scared of. But I do think he's going to be a little bit owned. Matt Ryan does seem to be projecting for some ownership. So, I assume Amon-Ra St. Brown will be the primary run back in those stacks. Very cheap stack, and I'm sure you can jam in the studs that you want outside of that Detroit-Atlanta stack. So I do like him despite the potential chalkiness. Let's see. Brandon Cooks is not available. He just got put on the COVID list, which is crazy. Obviously, that opens up some value in the Houston receiver core, but I could be honest with you. I don't really know anyone who's.
Glock, in all seriousness, like we could be looking at Scott. This is just horrible. Like Scotty Miller, Mecole Hardman, depending on so much could open up. Byron Pringle.
Exactly.
A popular option. That's where we're sitting at right now.
Yeah. And those are great options. Obviously they become the number 1, number 2 guys just based on news. So, like in the NBA says, we say hashtag wait on the news. We definitely need to wait on the news here. And, obviously the value could pop up at any second just based on it. So yeah.
Anybody else that might be in the
KJ Osborne, he's 4'8". He's been, he had 7 targets, 9 targets, and then 3 targets in that Chicago game stinker. But, he's definitely the number 2 guy. If Thielen comes back, I think if Thielen doesn't come back, I think he had a chance of coming back last game, so he may return this weekend. Obviously, if he comes back, he's a great play as well, even returning from injury. But I do like KJ Osborne if Thielen is out, because he'll be the number 2 guy in a great game environment. And you can save some money if you're fading Justin Jefferson. So, yeah, those would be my guys.
Okay. Last position, well, we could talk defense, but basically as it stands, I'm not even kidding you guys when I say this. I might play the Atlanta defense this week because the Lions might be quarterbacked by someone other than Jared Goff. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Jared Goff is on track to miss this game. But think about that for a second. Oh, my God. And then that takes Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the conversation probably. So that would stink.
For sure.
But Rubio, tight end, Glock was talking about Noah Gray if Kelsey's out. What if Kelsey is in? And the other thing is the guy that leads all tight ends in PPR scoring this year is Mark Andrews. He's number 1.
I was very happy with Mark Andrews last week. He was part of my stack. So I was very, very happy. And this week I'm going to jump off the cliff at 7K. I'm not going to do it. 6'4" was nice. 7K is a little bit too rich for my blood. I'm not going to spend up at tight end. I'll just be completely honest with you. You look at these options, like I'd like Dawson Knox. Very good this year, but 5'3" is so high. And I just look at, there's not a notable tight end for me until I probably hit about 3-3 with Cole Kmet.
Oh, come on. Goddard went nuts last week.
But I'm talking about value or Goddard at 5'1". I still can't trust Jalen Hurts' arm. He went 7 for 135 and got 23, sure. But, he had a big catch at the end of the game that probably got him over the bonus and everything. And the Eagles like to control that game. The Eagles like to pound it with Miles Sanders, and then ended up running Jordan Howard all the way there in the 4th. So I just don't have any interest in this Eagles offense. I tried to play Jordan Howard yesterday. I was really happy with my play. They got it to the goal line, 2 or 3 times, and I'm sitting here, oh man, here's going to be me. I'm super sharp. I'm going to get the Jordan Howard vulture. And then Jalen Hurts sneaks it in twice. So I'm just frustrated with the Eagles entirely. And I'm not going to be playing Dallas Goedert. That's for damn sure. Anyway, Cole Kmet, 3-3, a little cheap punt there. Do we have, let's see here real quick. If Freiermuth misses, Zach Gentry probably gets a majority of the snaps there in Pittsburgh. So it's 2-7 or 2-8. It's going to get gross. Kendall Blanton, Higbee's probably going to be back this week for sure, right? He's got to be.
I mean, you would think so.
Yeah, so I guess Blanton, he's been getting 100% of the snaps there. But I'm going to be spending down. I'm trying to figure out who that's going to be. It's not as simple as the Saturday slate where I'm going to put Ertz in and then look elsewhere. But it'll probably be someone gross, and Cole Kmet's going to be at the top of that list who, he just gets targets. The last, 33 targets in the last 4 games? That's high. So at 3-3 too, especially.
Glock, tight end.
Yeah, so earlier I was saying Noah Gray, if Kelsey misses, I like him as a pure punt option. I think the only option, like the only issue looking at it now is like you just have all these tight ends that can totally separate from the field. Like Mark Andrews, we know his upside the past 2 weeks. Obviously, he's been doing it with Huntley, and Lamar Jackson, I think, could come back right this weekend. And I feel like their rapport hasn't looked that good this year. I feel like Huntley and Mark Andrews just had a great connection. So that does like make me a little bit concerned about Mark Andrews' tag, especially at 7K. But yeah, like in regards to the ceiling, you know, you have Mark Andrews who can have a huge ceiling. Rob Gronkowski, obviously, is he in or out? He's in, right?
You know what? He's another one. He should be in though, and he could be a target monster.
Yeah, like he could be the alpha, and you know Brady loves to go to him. He has a huge ceiling. Dawson Knox has a huge ceiling. Goddard has shown he has a huge ceiling. Hunter Henry had a huge ceiling game last game with 25.7 fantasy points. And so like that's the only issue I see with punting at tight end is you have so many guys that can just bury you early and you know, just keep you there. If you punt off tight end and just get like a few points from your tight end, you could be in deep trouble if those guys go off. But yeah, I mean, I love all the top shelf options. You can't go wrong with them. Kelsey, if he's in, Mark Andrews, Rob Gronkowski, Dawson Knox, Dallas Goedert, Hunter Henry, all great options, I think. And then, you know, in the cheaper range, I do like Gerald Everett. It does seem like he's getting more attention as of late for Russ. Like, maybe his fingers bothering him, but he does seem to be looking at Gerald Everett's way more. Derek Carr actually targeted Foster Moreau last time 9 times, so that's promising.
9 times.
Yeah, and then I do like.
What if Waller's back? I mean, obviously we're not playing Moreau, but what if he is?
I mean,
roster him.
Yeah, he's definitely in consideration. I really don't like playing anyone against Denver personally. They're just pretty stout defense, and you know, the games aren't really like back and forth, high paced in a great game environment that I would prefer. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely in play, but just, I don't think he'd be one of my preferred options. And then the last I would go to is Cole Kmet. Like Rubio said, he's just getting a lot of targets. Field seems to getting more comfortable with him. And then I would just go as low as Noah Gray if Kelsey's out.
Like, what are you expecting out of Kmet if you roster him? 10 points on DK?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. Because, if you get 10 from that price, you're happy with it. And then you just hope that none of these guys go for 30 or 25 plus that really screw you. And then you can hope that your stud wide receivers go off.
All right, guys. If there's anything else, please let me know. I'm just, like I said, I'll just throw Atlanta out there early in the week. But anything else defensively either one of you want to discuss? Or no, screw defense.
Merry Christmas.
Whatever fits on defense. That's my motto. Whatever, build everything. Whatever fits in your defense, let it ride.
All right, boys. Good talking with you, Rubio. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Christmas, Philip. Excuse me, I see Philip Dang on my thing, and I keep meaning to call you Glock. Glock. Have a wonderful. Because Glock's kind of like a badass name. My dad's name is Philip. Not too scary. And I got Glock too. So Glock, Merry Christmas. I'm Holden. Everybody have a wonderful time. Simon, get us out of here.